L'interceda pronuncia de dom. Recipu del meritis, Beate Maria Semper Virgine, Beati Michaelis Archangelis, Beati Anni Baptis, Sancto Apostolo Petris Paulus, Dominus Sanctorum.
I shall send you in disgrace. Your sons are not unknown to me. Your love is
to be free. But you shut me out, left holding the key. All I've seen are lying beside me, love that's fading away. Come on baby, let it work for that day. Gotta be strong in the way we are and keep the fire burning. Holding the line and reach the shore to keep the wheel turning. I knew baby there'd come the time you take my loving away. I'm asking you baby, why won't you stay? Now I know, baby, love is true. My love not far from you. And the love that I feel, you're feeling it too. What I feel now lying beside me, love that's turning my way. Come on, baby, let it work for the day. Gotta be strong in the way we are and keep the fire burning. Holding the line to reach the shore to keep the wheel turning. Gotta be strong in the way we are and keep the fire burning. Holding the line to reach the shore to keep the wheel turning. Gotta be strong. Keep the fire
As moon rises, the sun slips sight, begins the ritual of this night, for those convinced their path is right. Gathered from north, south, east and west, yet called at another's behest, those treading the path that is left. From near and far, come as you are to this place and embrace this space as darker hue embraces you. Of water,
Hugh,
spirit,
have you seen
earth
Tim?
and fire,
I don't know where Tim is.
confessing the sins of empire, we come with our wounds and desire. sensing that we are not alone, drawn to the flame that guides us home. For here, you, me, and yet to be. Importance and signs of these times, for the sake of all those maligned, is yet the home of the divine.
Tusen Takk Tuesday Triton for Tim.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to Metal Compline on this Takk Tuesday for Tim. However, I don't actually know where Tim is. We had arranged it last week, talking about stuff. It'd be good to catch up again, and we booked it. I sent the link, and I've been left hanging. Oh wait, somebody at the door. Somebody at the door. Hold on. It's all right, it's Tim. You know, come on. Come on, Tim. There we go. What do you want? A written invitation? Hello.
Thanks for all the pomp and circumstance. Nice to see you.
That's all right. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Yeah, cool.
Very well.
Good to see you again. So I think we're going to do this together, aren't we? Which is awesome.
Yeah, very excited about this.
Cool. Yes, there we go. Yes, that's. I'm awaiting a cease and desist from Graham Hodge of All We Can and a royalty fee issue demand for. Yeah. So
it's all one big movement, James, and you're very welcome in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dear. Oh, drama's kicking off now.
Getting a little bit personal now, Matt. Hello. I missed you, buddy.
So moving swiftly on. First question is, Tim, on this Takk Tuesday, is there anything that makes you say 1,000 thank yous in Old Norse because it just sounds better and say Tusen Takk?
It does sound very good. It sounds particularly good when you say it. I've been practicing, but I'm not sure my Tusen Takk is anything like as epic as yours.
No, well, you cue it up and I'll press play. You'll be fine. Guess Tusen Takks. Yeah.
Yes, you don't want to rock out with me, trust me. Yeah, loads of things actually. Just
cool.
Feel like I'm having a really good week this week, which is nice. Should I pick one? I think the Tusen Takk for today is just the absolutely fabulous little team I get to work with at All We Can. I've had some really, really good meetings today, and
cool.
Not all meetings are good, are they? But today's were. And yeah, it's really nice to work with a bunch of people who all want to kind of see the world be a better place. And it's nice to remember that every now and then, because I think, it's very easy to get bogged down in work just being work, but actually it's about trying to do the best for people who live in some of the worst places. So, Tusen Takk for my lovely colleagues, even Matt Forsyth when he...
Even Forsyth there, yay! There we go. Which reminds me, I've dropped a Bedfordshire clanger and we've only been going about 2 minutes. I do apologise. Although I'm not sure Matt deserves it, really, after that comment. I don't know. What do you think, people? Oh, it's all about grace, you know. nothing like a countdown that's 29.9 seconds longer than it needed to be. But never mind.
That's for you, Carol Vorderman, if you're watching.
There we go. There we go. Grace abounds. Oh. So yes, so I'd love to know from anybody else in comments whether you are watching now, in the future, on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, what from this day, as you look back on it, has given you hope, given you maybe joy, just a sense of how life can be, and some motivation in it all. What today has made you say not one but 1,000 thank yous, and to say it in Old Norse, as will now be demonstrated by Mr. Tim Baker. Tusen takk for me, Tim. Tusen takk for me, Tim.
Tusen takk!
That was like the best ever Tusen takk. No, I think it was flat. I think you just might. I might have slightly tighter trousers than you. That's due to how I've spent lockdown 3 mainly. But yeah, I wouldn't wear it. I'm just wearing my spandex down here, man. Total retro traditional metal style.
No, I didn't realise that. I'd have dug mine out.
Hey. Oh, what a sight! The pair of us. Oh, did no, let's not.
Right. That is not Methodist Conference 2021.
I think that might be Mr. Hustler on the phone. Taxi for 2. Thank you, Joyce. Tusen takk for homeschooling. Yeah, it went well. Fantastic. We knew it would. That's awesome. I'm glad it was all right, Joyce. Well done. Awesome. Tusen takk from Mate.
And I can guarantee you that will have been a gift to Scarlett's parents as well. So
absolutely.
Well,
there we go. Yeah. Passing it on. It's good. Tusen takk from Mother for a gentle walk, not in the rain. And speaking of which, Rachel is Tusen takking for the fact that she lives on top of the hill as we brace for floods here. I think I've just been watching a lot of water come out of my guttering. My Niagara Falls might reappear over next door's garden again, but never mind. Cool, Aaron. So your master of your new song is complete and sent to radio today. I'm playing it on Friday, and the song, people, is "Don't Bow Down." To show it here at some point and chat to you maybe. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, excellent. Well, should look out for that on Friday.
Of course, there is, of course, the He Were Rocky radio show at 10 p.m. Sorry, I got my beard caught in my pop shield. Ow! Oh, blimey, that hurt. He Were Rocky radio show at www.cornerstone-christian-radio at 10 p.m. on Friday with Aaron V. Graham. Awesome.
I think is that not sign that it's time for this sponsored shave?
It could well be. Yeah. It's it makes it like really like tight wire mesh, and I just got a bit close in it. And I'm doing it again now. She's demonstrating what I did wrong by doing it again. Stupid boy. Anyway, sorry. Tim. Yeah. Had a wonderful Eccles cake just to make you happy. Oh, lovely. Are you allowed to eat those in Devon? Are they allowed out of Yorkshire? I don't know. Wow.
We're going to start another pudding-based debate.
Well, yes, I just really get like you're left with like a bootful a couple of years ago, and you're sort of rationing them out. I don't know. Tusen Takk from Gisela. A wireless mouse at the supermarket. Oh, welcome to the Wireless Mouse Club. Scrolling anywhere and everywhere. Ha ha. I'd love to link it up to the wheels on this chair. That'd be awesome. I could just scroll myself around like Davros in Doctor Who. I'd be pretending I'm a Dalek. I'd put a pan on my head with the thing sticking out the front. Anyway, did anyone else see that Britain's Got Talent sketch? No. Well, the guy just put I think he was a member at one of my dad's churches actually at one point, but he just put a pan on his head with the handle sticking forward and just went exterminate. It was just genius. It was the funniest thing I've seen. It was brilliant. I think he switched on the lights somewhere as well after that. It was brilliant. The Christmas lights, amazing. Anyway,
there's something for YouTube later.
Yes, absolutely. I got so carried away. It's like on.
I always come away from these live streams with something to look up.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous thing to go and find out more about.
Yeah, it's not usually the number of a particular type of health service, is it? We didn't pay your visits to Dronfield. Oh, dear. I forgot to share the Tusen Takk lyrics, the moment of Tusen Takk this. Thank you for sharing everybody's Tusen Takk moments. In anticipation of the new Pantocrator album, which is being shipped from Nordic Mission, the label it's issued on, from nordicmission.net next Friday. So we're on countdown, and a single is out with a video, which is on YouTube. And it also means that I've done today what I've called the Metal Methodist mixtape. Yes. So some music for this week. Hello. So some music from this week, including this song by Pantocrator, with information about where you can go and find and support the bands that are featured. But I wanted to share these words because I think it fits in with what me and Tim are going to talk about. And it's just a fantastic song and fantastic words again. So these words from the song We Are the People. All the words tonight are coming from the song We Are the People, ahead of the album Out of Babylon dropping on Friday. And I can reveal that Pantocrator will be joining us next week. Some more people I need to not say that I love whilst talking to them. Love you, Tim.
That's so I love you too.
Ironically, you're the second man in spandex I've told that I love him. There was Rick Allen from Def Leppard in a spandex jumpsuit. But there we go. Anyway, so these lyrics from Pantocrator and the song We Are the People. We are the custodians of God. You are the people. I am the people. We are the people. So we gather as the people, as God's people, and to share God with each other and to encourage each other to share God in the rest of our lives until we gather again. But recognizing as well, there's probably stuff from today that has been pants. So if there has some more lyrics from the same song, We Are the People, just in case you hadn't got, that's the title of the song by now. We are to blame. It is our choice and our shame when we sell our rights for bread and gains. Here and now, the price of forever. A penny for your sanity, shackles for your liberty, a pile of waste for your soul. So if there's stuff in our own lives, in the life of the world, that is painful and tough and wrong, we can offer it up, lay it down, which are two contradictory motions there, but you know what I mean. Let's just kind of just acknowledge it. Thank you. Acknowledge it, and at least for this evening, just leave it where it is so we may have rest.
The principalities and will to power, the worms from within my own darkest hour. I confess all the regrets and the regrets, the burdens and fears, the lament and the tears. I lay them down.
So at this point, it'd be good to have a reading from the Metal Bible, and I think you're going to do the reading tonight, but I don't know quite how to get this Bible over to you. If I throw it, could you catch it?
Yeah.
At which point I smash my screen. Here it comes, Tim. Oh, amazing! It's like we rehearsed it. I just got the cat. Sorry.
Sorry, cat.
Anyway, tonight's reading given to us by Tim Baker.
From the Metal Bible.
Wow.
I can recommend it. Mine arrived literally today, so
Amazing.
that was very exciting.
It's meant.
And perfect timing. We're in Matthew's Gospel, just one verse, chapter 5, verse 41. If a person demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it for 2 miles. That's simple. Short, sweet. Yeah. Did the rehearsals go this well? Yeah, they did. Every single one of them went as well.
Can't you tell? So
I hope that's the verse you were expecting, James.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, no, yes. Well, at least it wasn't Song of Solomon. That'd have been more awkward. Your neck is like a gazelle. So the reason I chose that, I thought about that reading is hopefully because last night we talked a lot about justice and injustice and what we can do in response. And it just reminded me of a colleague, Dan Woodhouse, who did a session for us, excuse me, when we were in early years after vicar school, because you go through early years and then you go to big school, the over 10s, and you get to wear a tie. But he was kind of talking about some of the passages in the Bible, and Dan's very much an activist, and just demonstrating some of the stuff in the Bible, and particularly things we've used like turn the other cheek, which means or carry this. If you have to do something for a mile, do it for 2, because certainly I grew up kind of going, that's about being overly caring and always pushing yourself to care and care and care and care. And actually, Dan helped me see, no, what that is about is under Roman occupation, people could be required by Roman soldiers to carry their military load for them for a mile. That was the law. So by doing it for 2, you've now forced your oppressor to essentially break their own rules and law. And so it just undermines and turns on its head the kind of oppressive power structure. Yeah. So I think when we were talking the other night, I think we've been talking about the lockdown here and just thinking about other places. I know the late election in Uganda, but also just what is happening and how COVID is affecting other countries, and certainly countries either through all we can and through your work you've had and have direct relationship and contact with. And I just felt it really good to hear from you. So you can help us be aware and informed, not just on what's going on, but actually how we can be part of challenging some of the stuff that is just awful. I shall now shut up.
Feel free to chip in. Thanks, James. Yeah, I mean, so much, isn't there? So much going on, and it'd be nice to just share a little bit of that with you all tonight. So thank you for the opportunity. I think that reading really reminded me of the moment we've had in our own kind of political situation recently, with this whole school meals fiasco, and the way the government won't hurry up and make a U-turn on its own decision, but the way that people just fed school children anyway during the holidays. And that seemed like a really good example of that same, exactly like Dan Woodhouse captures in his interpretation of that passage. Things aren't right, it's not fair what the law says, so let's just ignore the law and do what's right and do a gracious thing, make a mockery of the law by businesses that were already on their knees finding some extra food to give to people. And in some ways that captures so much of what we're trying to do at All We Can, which is kind of recognize that there's an inbuilt injustice in the world. And that's what I love about being a part of this little community of metal compliners who gather so regularly, is that we get to just kind of rail against that injustice a little bit. And your almost daily opportunity for us to lay down that is really helpful for me. But it's also exactly what we're trying to do all we can, which is constantly say, actually, there's an inbuilt injustice, an inbuilt imbalance in how the world works. And we should be doing something about that. So All We Can's been around for like 80 odd years. And for most of that time have just been trying to get better at doing that, at addressing injustice, at trying to find what we can do that's different, and what we can do that would make the world work differently. And obviously at the moment, that's nearly all about coronavirus. Some of you who were with us a couple of weeks ago when we shared about some of the impacts of sort of about 2.1 million people being impacted by All We Can's work last year, the kind of breakdown is that 1.9 of those were being supported by our coronavirus appeal. 1.9 million of the 2.1 were directly the work was directly related to trying to help people in some of the world's poorest communities deal with COVID. Because in some ways we've had lockdown easy. Yes, we've had the numbers hard, and our health system has been hit really hard. I remember a conversation that Hannah and I had a few weeks ago where we were saying how annoying it is that our system seems to be the one that's been hit the most, and kind of our healthcare system is one of the most strained in the world. And then saying, actually, isn't that a relief? Because if that system was the healthcare system of South Sudan was the one that was most strained in the world, there would be untold millions of people who wouldn't have made it through. The fact that we have a hugely resourced NHS, yes, perhaps not quite as resourced as we would like it to be, hugely resourced NHS has seen us through this tough time. So I guess be interested to hear in the comments kind of what you folks watching along have been engaging with in terms of like worldwide stuff about coronavirus. And it's nice that this is a global space, and I know we have people joining us from around Europe and sometimes even further. But just be interested in kind of how much people already know about some of this stuff, just so I don't, because you know me, I could still be talking at midnight. But the kind of how much of it is filtering through into the news outside of the small international development sector where I work, where we're talking about it all the time, would be really interesting. And thanks, Aaron, for your encouragement, saying that we're doing excellent work. Yes, lots of plugs, Joyce. Sorry about that. This is an evening where you need to test your drains. Yeah. Were you going to say something? You have arrived looking all wide.
No. I think you're moving into a sort of a consultative moment.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, you said midnight, and I was just going to come in singing 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden at that point, but I missed it. So sorry. And I think Matt. Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say Matt's raised a very good question there. Tim, can you tell us more about this All We Can? I do think, like Matt, they do sound very, 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 very decent. And just do it. Yes, there we go.
More pretty decent than we are pretty or decent. But that's what we're working on. I'd be interested, James. I don't know from your perspective, kind of how much is filtering through into your awareness. I vaguely follow the BBC News app, and I know they report on the odd story. But
yeah, I mean, I think I would say, and I'm genuinely thinking this from March last year, that, you know, apart from the initial bit of good grief, this is happening in a particular country. So initially China, but it's all right because it's in China. It's nowhere near us, wherever we are in the world.
Sounds a long way away.
And then, people coming back from skiing trips. Oh, no, it's Italy. Okay. But beyond that sort of first bit they seem to apart from the stuff on 117 hashtag hold together from www.allwecan.org.uk on Facebook, but yeah, apart from that, actually just really talking and sharing what it is like in different countries. I could probably remember a couple of things where I think South Africa seems to have made it in the news a few times in terms of pressure on the NHS, and Israel maybe, but again, it was very much a snapshot, large picture, rather than, but what is it like if you are already struggling, and what is it like for an individual or somebody with an underlying health condition? Because we know how it affects people with underlying conditions here, and perhaps people from certain ethnic backgrounds for whatever reason, and so we talk about that here, but apart from all we can in 117, not really hearing what that must be like in a different country and setting.
Well,
Really
interesting, because I think that was my inclination, was that was kind of the way the news is going, because it's all very UK focused, isn't it, our news, particularly at the moment. Perhaps Brexit isn't helping that. So I think you mentioned something there that's probably really important right now in terms of things to pray for, things that we need to get involved in. South Africa, and therefore Southern Africa. There's been we're not quite sure at the moment whether it's the same new strain as we discovered in the run-up to Christmas, or a different new strain. But there's a new strain broke out in Southern Africa just before Christmas, and has hugely increased the number of cases in South Africa itself. That's one thing, and certainly something we should be worried about, and we need to pray about South Africa. But in many ways, South Africa does have quite a lot of resources for a country in Southern Africa. So it's more Southern Africa as a whole that I guess we're really worried about, particularly neighbouring Zimbabwe, where we've been working pretty much consistently since the 1980s. And they've gone back into full lockdown since the beginning of January, I think, just after New Year's Day. They locked down again, and really that's twofold. And I remember talking about this quite a lot early on in the world of lockdowns. Obviously, coronavirus is really scary, and this new strand appears to be slightly more deadly than the previous one, which frightens us all, not least those of us who have to go shopping tomorrow. But beyond that, I think is the bigger impact in a country like Zimbabwe, when we just begin to think about how many countless hundreds of millions / billions our government has already poured into making our lives livable at the moment. Whether it's investment in the NHS, or it's just simple things like furloughing people. There's no furlough scheme in Zimbabwe. So you put your country into lockdown, you know that literally thousands of people will probably die as a direct result of that, because their income stream will just be cut off. And I remember Angela, one of my wonderful colleagues at All We Can, one of the people for whom I was Tusen takking earlier, she is from Malawi, and she was talking about the challenges of kind of where we are, of like just life in African culture, and particularly Malawian culture for her. Actually, you can't really do lockdown. Lockdowns don't really happen. There isn't a sort of semi-detached house that people live in the way that we know it to be. So, culture and economics and just kind of family life is based on the fact that people live in these little homesteads, but they're all part of one big village family. And just so how do you lock that situation down? You can't tell people to stay in the tiny little sort of 3 foot by 8 foot huts that they sleep in at night. So what are you going to do? You tell them to stay. You've got to stay your side of the tree that used to mark the boundary between this bit of land and the land, but nobody really paid attention to that boundary. So this kind of sort of flowing together of particularly rural village life in parts of Africa just doesn't can't lock down. It's not just that it would be hard or economically difficult. Just literally, how do you do it? You can't go around building fences. So I think that continues to be a fear for lots of us, is that what we still haven't seen with COVID-19 is the really frightening outbreak that we thought we might see across the developing world.
Okay.
It just hasn't happened yet, and we've got to keep praying that it doesn't.
Okay, but it's still very much potentially.
The new wave brings it back to a whole sort of oh goodness, this could still really happen. So definitely thinking about Zimbabwe a lot at the moment, and we've got some awesome partners in Zimbabwe. We work with the Methodist Church in Zimbabwe, which has its own kind of development arm. They're called Medra, and they're amazing. Those of you who do follow the All We Can story might remember the chickens of Harvest circa 2017, I think we worked out today. Those chickens were supporting people in Zimbabwe to have an alternative way of farming, and Medra and our other partners in Zimbabwe have all had amazing bits of work on kind of how we respond to this new virus, and particularly how we respond to this new strain that's caused this new lockdown. The other thing, of course, that we've got that makes life easier is the internet. So church is closed. Oh, never mind. Let's do church online. But that's not as feasible when you live in rural Zimbabwe. So brilliant stories, brilliant accounts of our partners continuing to respond and innovate, come up with a whole new set of new ideas. We've been doing new ideas since March 2020, haven't we? And they're just incredible people, the people who deliver some of the work around the world, but especially Zimbabwe's always got a special place in my heart, and they just keep coming up with new ways around it. So I guess we continue to pray strength to them, and any support that any of you can give to All We Can, whether it's financial or prayer, or check out the website. There's some opportunities to kind of help volunteer and raise the profile of All We Can, even if it's just sharing this video or joining us on 117. All of those things help, because they help to get the stories out there. And like you were saying, the stories are important. And I see Matt's praying for Uganda. There's been an election in Uganda that kind of happened towards the end of last week, Thursday, Friday last week. Still some kind of unfolding impacts of that. Not least the re-election of the incumbent president, which is perhaps hopeful, but comes with its challenges. Trying to skirt the politically correct line there. And
you went to my sending lyrics. No skirting there. Sorry, carry on.
Exactly. So we've done skirts and
spandex skirt.
Interesting idea.
Anyway,
and kind of part of the impact of that is that the internet was shut down for a number of days. Social media is still shut down. Now we have a colleague actually in Uganda at the moment, so communicating with him has been a bit of a challenge in the last few weeks. But also the impact that then has on people like our partners who are using the internet to deliver some of their work has been a bit of a challenge. And so I guess we just continue to hope for a peaceful move out of election time. And I think there is still some concern that a lot of the voting was done in person. We had all this kind of argument, didn't we, with the US election? And there may well be a sort of wave of cases that we're kind of 2 weeks from discovering, because it will kind of take 2 weeks for the impact of all those people going to the polls, queuing up, passing their vote, putting their little pencil onto the next person.
Oh wow!
So we have to, we have to hope.
Yeah, man. So I'm just thinking. I mean, you've mentioned obviously the website www.allwecan.org.uk. Get it tattooed, people, in a metal font, backwards on your forehead, so you remind yourself what it is in the mirror. But I'm just thinking the other things that I know All We Can offer yourself and Matt, particularly that where in countries where we are able to be as church online, is an opportunity for folk to invite you or invite Matt or someone from All We Can to actually come and talk about these issues. And as we heard yesterday, the Nazareth Manifesto, the mandate from God for us, the call, the privilege of being invited to carry on that kingdom building, that care and justice and inclusion and freedom from oppression that began in Jesus. So if people are interested, is that, are you and Matt still available for weddings, baptisms, bar mitzvahs, whatever?
More than
coffee
ever.
morning. Cool.
Yeah, I love a Zoom coffee morning, by the way. I haven't been invited to one of those for ages, so please do invite me along.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
And I can bring my own biscuits, which helps. Yes, please do. There's a page on the website, allwecan.org.uk/speaker, and you can book a speaker through there, or you can just get in touch with me or Matt. You can see him; he's in the comments. You can go to his Facebook page and send him a message, tell him you'd really like him and not that other bloke who talks for too long. We're both really keen to do that, and I think to do that in whatever form is helpful for people listening and for people's churches that are listening. Matt and I both love preaching. Happy to do that on a Sunday morning. Join you live, record you a message, whatever it is. We'll come along. So yes, as Matt says, happy to go where the bookings take me.
Well, I was going to say, in the worlds of Fields of Dream and Wayne and Garth, if you book them, people, they will come.
Well, sort of. We'll send
virtually.
a link. Yeah. Which it's not quite the same thing, but it's been fun traveling around the world. A few months ago, I had the privilege of preaching in Dubai, which I never would have done in this exact spot, and spoke to Dubai, which was cool.
Well, because I ended up, I found myself in the middle of a Dubai Methodist Church service prayer meeting the other day. I thought, this is amazing. When else will I be able to do this? And everyone's just singing and praying, and people are saying amen, and they go, wow. And I'm just sat being part of this on the other side of the world. What a privilege and mad. Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look up Sagan on Facebook. He's awesome. And they're great. Yes. A few months ago, Matt announced me on an event as soon to be Reverend Dr. Baker, which caused several texts of people saying, I didn't know you were going to get the name. But I think it was Karl Marx who said there really ought to be a sarcastic mark that you can put on text so that people know that you're joking.
Well, of course, remember we are joined this evening by the venerable canon Reverend Dr. Wayne Grucock.
we are. No, none other.
It's inviting people.
I'll come to Devon if you want as well, Wayne. So you
Devon help us.
Especially if I don't have to do that really long drive. So yes, there's lots there. I guess the other thing I just want to quickly touch on is like a little bit of hope, because there's lots of really, really hard stuff, lots of laying down. But I guess your Tusen, Takk rhythm, which again, such a helpful rhythm. What we're thankful for, what do we need to worry about or sort out, is, and it struck me quite early on in lockdown, but it's been going on for months now, is the amazing work that All We Can's been supporting in refugee camps. I remember chatting to Matt, it was probably mid-March. It was when coronavirus was a thing that we didn't really know what it was like. I remember saying, what if you're in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, or what if you're in Zaatari refugee camp in Jordan, and there's 77,000 of you in 5 square kilometers? What does that mean for today? And that was in fact one of the first things we were able to do with all the amazing funds that were raised through the emergency coronavirus appeal, was support isolation work in those camps, which I think I've got a picture for. Let's see if this works.
Whoa! Yeah. Wow!
That's some people being triaged in Cox's Bazar, where in both camps we were able to set up kind of places where people could go as soon as they had symptoms, be triaged, be isolated, and then be tested whilst in isolation, and then if they tested positive, to be removed out of the camps, which was and still has prevented a huge outbreak there. And when you talk about the numbers, it feels like a small thing that we did. We built a little triage tent, but actually we, possibly that work and the money raised and the support given actually might have saved countless thousands of lives, because an outbreak in one of those camps could have been the most fatal thing yet to have happened. And and had some really helpful information through from some of my colleagues just yesterday about the way that vaccination plans already begun in Jordan. In fact, some of the refugees are top of the vaccination list and have even
really?
received vaccines.
That's
so
awesome.
that's really awesome, isn't it? And a real testament, as we've said so many times, to Jordan, which is just an awesome country when it comes to refugees. They're so generous. Yeah. We're so miserly about asylum seekers and refugees in this country. And we're yet our friends in Jordan, who have much less resource to draw on, have been so kind and hospitable. And the whole state system is now trying to vaccinate them, and God bless that work. Certainly,
that's awesome. But I mean, I was speaking to somebody talking about a couple of people involved in a charity here, but their work is about funding and enabling education in refugee camps. The fact that not only are refugees in those camps doing their daily lives, we're all, some of us are trying our best, failing miserably, to homeschool. But in the midst of COVID, in that situation, but children still needing to be educated, and the difference that can make for their future through the other side of this. But again, it just never. Yeah, I guess I never thought about. Oh yes, I'm in a refugee camp. Of course, you're going to, please God, have access to some sort of education, and again, amazing the work that he's going on to enable that. It's fantastic. So,
yeah. absolutely, and I think that's kind of, it's where so many of us have been, isn't it, over the course of the last, 10 and a bit months that we've lived through coronavirus, isn't it? It's kind of, it began with, this is a crisis, let's make sure we keep people alive, and now 10 months in, you've got to be thinking, what about children that need educating? And we've got to tackle some of the longer term issues that coronavirus has flagged up. We've talked about some of them on these over the months, haven't we? Like homelessness in the UK, the fact that that was a thing. Suddenly people were onto that 6 months ago, and this time round there seems to be no policy interest. Similarly, I think with some of the work going on around the world, we've got to make sure we don't lose sight of it. Do friends, if you know how to do this, do change your notifications on the BBC News app if you follow it, because you can get notifications about the world as well, and they're buried really deep if you just scroll through the first page. But actually, you can get the app to tell you what's going on in the world. You can tell it that you're interested in things that aren't just British problems.
Well, I was just thinking, I don't know, excuse me, Melissa, we're talking about starfish theology the other night, and Melissa saying actually just doing your little bit. And so I think I'm feeling really hopeful for this conversation, that whether it's doing something as simple as that, just to change a notification or to go somewhere so we are being informed, that's the first thing. And then we get to hear stories, and then we can become engaged with organizations like All We Can to find out the human reality behind some of those headlines. That's really simple to do. We can all do that equally. If you're able to send an email All We Can and say, come and talk to my group about what's going on, help us be educated. So really, really simple things that we can do, as well as the other opportunities to support and to campaign and to give, and to keep in touch with our MPs and the Foreign Secretary about Yemen, about refugee camps, about just all of it. Let's be lovely if they went, oh look, it's them blooming Christians again, banging on. Of course, sorry, that was very because actually there are people of many faiths and no faith equally, just being so active and so compassionate and passionate in their love and care and humanity. And so whatever motivates us, let's I was about to say, let's do all we can. Sorry.
I wonder where you got that idea from. Yeah.
No. I'm gonna think my doorbell's gone again as well while I mention it. But yeah.
It'll be Matt Forsyth this time.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of which, here's another plug from Matt. Because I think I'm right, you are going to come back as well as we get closer to Lent. Is that right?
Ooh. I momentarily lost you.
No, so I was just saying, so Matt's just dropped in about the allwecan.org.uk/Lent journey. I think you were going to come back and on here at some point and talk to us in more detail about Lent resources, ideas, and campaigns?
Yeah, very happy to. Very happy to. But yeah, go click on the link that Matt's put in and you'll find out some stuff. And then we can talk more about that some other time, because I'm aware it's nearly midnight.
Oh, it is. It's 2 minutes midnight. Thanks, Rachel. That's really helpful. Open Democracy, a site we can go to for finding out about issues in other countries that aren't reported in the UK. Thank you. Yeah, let's go there as well. Something else we can do while we're doing whatever we're doing after this. In fact, while you're doing this, something you do on a different device. Oh dear. So, is there anything else you particularly want to get across this evening, Tim?
No, I don't think so. I think it's literally that. It's kind of the process that James has just talked us through. Let's be those people who know stuff, who know about what's going on around the world, so that when you are having conversations with other people, you can drop in about that. It's actually a source of great kind of motivation in our house. We talk quite a lot about kind of, at least we're not in a refugee camp. It helps put things in perspective and count our blessings and do our Tusen tacking, despite however hard January 2021 feels. So find out those stories and then act on them. And to use an old Rob Bell-ism, be careful about what makes you angry, because it might just be God inviting you to do something about it. So let's do something about it. And I'll leave that with you as you're listening in to work out what it is that you want to do. But there's loads of stuff on the All We Can website if you should have ideas. Awesome.
Thank you. Just want to say hello to Sean, who's watching with us, and Melissa. Hello. And the other night with Pam, we're talking about metal and whether sometimes that makes you angry. Well, sometimes when it comes to stuff like this, maybe this is a reason to listen to metal, people. Get yourself in that zone and go rah and act on stuff. And I don't want to share them yet, but I've these lyrics from Pantocrator from that song. Please do check on that YouTube. Metal Method. After you've been to All We Can and you downloaded Open Democracy and you've changed the settings on your BBC app, other news apps are available, or you've emailed Matt or Tim and invited them to your coffee morning, online, church service, community group, whatever it is, when you've done all that, go to YouTube and search Metal Methodist and watch the Metal Methodist mixtape and the song We Are the People by Pantocrator. If that doesn't get you out in the street, I don't know what will. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just in my head. I'm watching that video. I'm sorry. I've just drifted off. I'm sorry. Oh dear. But yeah.
And I suppose that question that music song raises is: are we the people?
Well, yes, quite.
Yeah, we are the people.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, it's about time. Speaking of metal, that we had something. So. If there's, I know we've spoken about Uganda and Zimbabwe particularly, and the wider Southern Africa area, but if there are things or people or situations that you want to offer and bring and just name, it doesn't have to be a lot of detail, but just are on your heart, in your mind, things that are making you angry about the stuff going on in the world. Again, that's the place to start. Let's share it and pray. And we'll do that now. I feel I should play some angry metal now, but I'm not sure. If
machines need to be raging against.
And now Rage Against the Beep. No. Shall I? Or shall I play something gentle to lead us into prayer? Your choice. I know what I'll do. I know. Happy medium. As it's you, Tim. I'll do this. Colin. No, he's not, so there.
His works are clear for all to see. He lives inside of you and me. Why should that demon have all the glory? He was only an angel at the start of the story. He has deceived us, see him devour. We need a kingdom, the kingdom of power. An angel is bright as sun, but he's not the chosen one. An angel is bright as sun, but he's not the chosen one.
Preach it, Colin. Yeah. That's quite a slow fade. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Colin.
So,
How about this?
no, dude. That's awesome. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. I want that as my
It was a last
background
minute
now.
decision. It had to be done.
No, that's fine. I need to put that on the door behind me because I do have that came in the LP. I do have a Dark Forest poster, but I don't have any blue tack. Tusen tack, no blue tack. So I was going to stick that behind me, but I think that is much better. That's really good.
all the Tusen tack in the world won't hold your posters up.
No. Wait, just so this comment is. Yes, well enjoyed that. Which? That. Yes.
Right.
Good. That's clear. So yeah, just I guess a chance to pray for Uganda, for Zimbabwe and Southern Africa, as well as all that people are going through in the countries represented here tonight, whether that's Sweden or Germany or the UK or Northern Ireland or other places, perhaps in Latin America. Yeah, and again, just praying that through the inspiration of people like Tim and Matt and all we can, and others doing other work in other ways, that those stories and the stories that they enable to be heard of our brothers and sisters as human beings, each made and carrying the divine image, that we are inspired to be part of the change and a future that has hope for us and for all people. So let us pray when I find the prayer thing. Here it is.
To the one in whom all people and all creation have their being, may your kingdom come, your will be done, as above, so below. Sustain us for this day. Show us grace as we seek to show grace to those we feel have wronged us. Save us from the worst that is within us and within this world. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
So these lyrics, are you sticking around for the notices?
Yeah, why not?
Cool, excellent.
If you'll have me, sort of
yeah.
loitering.
I feel we should get a lectern out of somewhere. Wheel you onto it. Can't have notices, guest notices without a lectern.
Well, you read the notices and I'll heckle.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, if you just cough loudly during it and go, "My taxi's here. My dinner's." Ah, dear. Has he finished yet? Anyway, these lyrics from the awesome Pantocrator. Go and check out the whole song at YouTube, Metal Methodist, and the Metal Methodist mixtape playlist. So the song ends on this note: "Come, rise, sic semper tyrannis. Thus always to tyrants. Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. We are the people." Boom!
May the peace of the All-Parent be ours this night, and with all people and all creation in the time that is to come.
You see, in the green room, Tim was showing me his witch hazel. That hazel. Yeah. It just suddenly slipped across. Wow.
Yes. I'm not going to say the first thing that came into my head then. That is awesome, that Pantocrator song and those lyrics particularly. I love that about. We've talked a bit about revolution, I feel, in the last few days. Are you building up to a big moment?
To actually starting one, I'm just going to go and join in with one that's going on.
Okay, yeah.
It's God's, and it's everywhere. But I don't know. Maybe I do. I felt it maybe just a bit around that time of the second lockdown. Just thinking about here, but then I suppose then there was Christmas, and yes, then there was Brexit kind of actually happening. But it just seems to me at the minute we are falling back into that thing where it's really easy because of all that is going on to kind of be towards each other from quite defensive, angry, shouty places. And so I guess I'm just getting more excited or more G'd up about, right, okay, what does the revolution of love and inclusion of peace really look like at this moment for each of us, wherever we are, and how can we be a part of that in response to all of it? Because, anyway.
Amen.
And now, the notices. Well, I've ruined it by doing the notice about halfway through. Sorry, everybody. The notice is that Pantocrator will be joining us one night next week, to be confirmed. They're a bit busy this week, so a big thank you to them, and also to Paul and Nordic Mission, who are facilitating that, making that happen. Bob Fleming. So I just want to thank you, Tim, and just offer you and Matt and all we can and all the partners involved my deepest love, respect, thanks, and awe and prayers for all that you are and all that you do, which is all that you can.
You.
I'm just going to
Absolutely.
I
know it's a bit of a cliche now because I say it all the time, but I do mean it. That like all we can is basically nothing without all the people who are involved here in the UK supporting it. So even if you're just one of the few that stuck around to the very end of my wafflings, you're part of it. You're in. Sorry. And then you might not have meant to be, but you are now. Welcome and thank you. We need you.
Yeah. And as we thought about when we were thinking about the crossing of the Jordan and Israel going across, and the priests stood in the River Jordan and stood there till everyone was across. So everybody in. No one left behind, people.
Absolutely.
So I think having guest Tusen Takk introduction, we now need a guest swaying introduction.
Oh, no.
in whatever style you feel led to do it in. Yeah, and I'll press the button.
I'm sure there's a better pun than this, but the thing that occurs to me is Jesus is the sway, the truth, and the life. Let us sway.